Hi, Brad and Pamela from Wellness Within, here to help you stress less and thrive. Welcome to part 8 of our video series on how to help you reduce your symptoms of stress naturally. When tapping, there are 3 key concepts that, when used together, can significantly improve the results you get from tapping. In previous videos, we have introduced a couple of those. And in this video, we're going to introduce the third one, and then we're going to talk to you about how these 3 components, these 3 concepts work well together.
Exactly. And we'd like to begin with a quick review. The first concept that we shared with you was on testing. So whether you are working with an emotion, a pain, or a body sensation, a simple yet effective way to test your progress is to rate the intensity of that emotion, pain, or discomfort before tapping, and then tap 1 round or 2 rounds, 3 rounds, whatever, how many rounds you feel is has done the work, and then retest. And the scale that we use is a scale of 0, where there's no intensity at all, or 10, where it couldn't be any stronger. Now, the second concept that we introduced was that of being specific. And one way to be specific when dealing with a negative emotion is to ask why. So if I was to give you an example of that, maybe I'm feeling angry at my son. So I would ask myself, what is it specifically? Why am I so angry with my son? And then the answer might be something like, I'm angry at my son because he didn't fill up the car with gas again. Now, being specific with physical symptoms, you can ask a variety of questions. For example, where is that symptom located specifically? What size is it? Is it large or small? Does it have a shape, a color, a texture, or a temperature? And all of these, the answers to these questions, lead you to being more specific about precisely what you want to deal with.
And of course, more information on both testing and being specific can be found on previous videos that we've made. So now I'd like to move on to the third component, and that is finding aspects. Finding aspects allows us to get even more specific with emotional issues. Finding aspects is like breaking the emotional issue down into parts, like pieces of a puzzle, and then tapping separately on each of them. So we're going to do a demonstration using Pamela's hypothetical example with her son, being angry at her son for not putting gas in the car again, to demonstrate to you what aspects actually look like in a tapping session.
Okay.
So do you want to do the tapping? And I'll just tap along. And I will also ask questions at the end of each round. These would be questions you would kind of ask yourself if you're tapping on your own. So I guess the first question, Pamela, I would ask is, when you think of, in this case, being angry at your son, what's the level of anger on a scale of 0 to 10?
6. I would say it's a 6 right now. I would rate the intensity of my anger at a 6.
Okay, and I would make note of 6. And now we go ahead and tap.
Okay. So we'd start on the side of a hand. Even though I am angry at my son because he has not filled up the car with gas again, I deeply and completely accept that that is how I'm feeling in this moment. I'm angry at my son. On the eyebrow, he didn't fill the car up with gas again. On the side of the eye, I'm angry at my son. Under the eye, I am angry because he didn't fill the car up with gas again. Under the nose, I'm angry at my son. On the chin, He didn't fill the car up with gas again. On the collarbone. I'm angry at my son for not filling the car up with gas. Under the arm. I'm angry at my son for not filling the car up with gas again. And then take a deep breath.
Now you would check in with yourself and call up that situation in your mind, call up that anger, and on a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rate the intensity of that anger now?
I think the anger went down to 4.
So one of the things you can ask yourself, another question you could ask yourself after you tap is, what came up for me? In other words, is there more information that came up? And oftentimes the subconscious will send new information that's related to this issue. So when you tapped, Pamela, that first round, was there any new information that came up for you?
Yeah, because I have asked him to do so many, many times.
So we've just discovered another aspect, another piece of the puzzle, if you will, that we now want to tap on separately. So we're going to tap around on this new aspect or this new piece.
Okay, again, we'll start on the side of the hand or the karate chop. Even though I am still angry at my son because I have asked him many, many times to fill up the car with gas and he didn't, I completely accept that those are my feelings right now. Top of the head. I'm angry at my son still. Eyebrow. I've asked him many, many times. Side of the eye. I've asked him many times to fill the car with gas. And under the eye. I'm angry because he didn't do it. Under the nose. I've asked him many, many times. On the chin. I've asked him so many times to fill up the car with gas. On the collarbone. I've asked my son to fill up the car with gas and he didn't do it. Under the arm. I'm angry with him because I've asked him many, many times. And take a deep breath.
So Pam, check in now with your anger level, 0 to 10. Where would you rate it now?
It's gone down a bit to a 3.
3. So the other question we like to ask is, did anything else come up for you while you were tapping?
Yes, it did. I'm angry still because I gave him money. So there's no excuse for him not to fill a car with gas, at least in my mind.
Okay, so we've just discovered another aspect, another piece of the puzzle. We now are going to tap on that aspect separately.
Start on the side of the hand. I'm still angry with my son because I gave him money. So there's no excuse for him not to fill the car with gas. And I completely accept those are my feelings right now. Top of the head. I'm angry because I gave him money. Eyebrow. I gave him money and he still didn't fill the car up with gas. Side of the eye. I'm angry because I gave him money. Under the eye. He didn't use the money to fill the car up with gas. Under the nose. I'm angry at him for that. On the chin. I'm angry because I gave him money and there's no excuse for him not to fill the car with gas. Collarbone. I'm angry at my son because I gave him money and he still didn't fill the car with gas. Under the arm. I gave him money and he still didn't fill the car with gas. So I'm angry. And take a deep breath.
So once again, we'll test the intensity of the anger.
It's actually, I'm not angry any longer. The anger has gone, and there's a different feeling that's come up for me. And it's, I feel disrespected.
So again, yet another aspect. It's the same situation, it's the same event, yet another piece to the puzzle that's lending to the intensity of an emotion that's attached to that. So we would now continue to do a round or two on the disrespect. And that may also have some aspects to it as well.
It may. And the disrespect, the intensity for me has come down. It didn't go down any lower than a 3, so it's still at a 3. So should we do another round and see?
I think we want to move on, okay?
Okay, sure.
We have a little bit more to add to the aspects before we complete this video.
Well, one of the things, though, that I wanted to say here is that we've gotten to a point, the feeling of disrespect is really an underlying emotion that might be a foundation to why I got angry in the first place. And once we can resolve that even a little bit further, we might have, and this may happen for you too, so we encourage you to continue tapping, because you may end up having clarity and thinking something along the lines of, gee, maybe my son used that money for something that was, to him, was more important than the gas. And I haven't even had a conversation with him about it. So I'm going to have a conversation with him. I'm still not happy he didn't fill the car with gas. However, I'm calmer and I have clarity that maybe there's a good reason behind this. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and have a conversation with him, which is a lot different space that I'm in now than when I started.
Sure. A great point. And by the way, that's one of the outcomes of tapping, is that if you take away the emotion, you have more rational, more logical thoughts about what's going on. And it's probably a very good reason why, in this hypothetical case, your son didn't fill the car with gas.
Well, until all of the aspects have been, in an event or situation, have been resolved, you still may be feeling some intensity like I was. And it may seem that EFT isn't working. However, those aspects that were resolved will stay resolved. And it's those aspects that have not been taken care of that are responsible for the remaining intensity that you're experiencing.
So as you can probably tell, EFT or tapping is like peeling an onion. So that if you resolve one aspect or layer, generally there's an aspect, not always, but generally there's an aspect under that layer that needs to be peeled as well. So it's important not to just look at the general issue. In this example, I'm angry at my son. Or even I'm angry at my son for not putting gas in the car. To not just focus on that first idea that comes up for you, to think about, are there other aspects to this issue that I need to tap on to bring that intensity down? It's important to tap on those separately and to test them separately. Because if you test the fact that you're angry because he didn't put gas in the car, and a new aspect came up, like I gave him money, and then you go back and you test, he didn't put gas in the car, you don't know what you're testing. You don't know what you need to still work on. So it's important to test what aspect you're working on at the time. Get that particular aspect down to 0, then go to another aspect to tap on. And
all of the aspects, or each aspect, will generate intensity, whether you know it exists or not. And when an aspect changes, like it did in our demonstration, or shifts, that is evidence that EFT is working. It is so much easier to see our progress when we break an issue down into the smaller pieces or aspects and test each, as Brad said. And this is all about being specific. So this is how they all three work together.
So a quick summary. There are 3 important aspects for you to use and integrate every time you tap. Those components are testing, being specific, whether it's pain, whether it's an emotion or discomfort, whatever you're tapping on, and then looking for and resolving the different aspects that are related to those. Now, if you have any questions at all about tapping, please let us know and we'll incorporate the answers into our future videos. We thank you for joining us today.
Have a good day.
Be well.
Bye.
Bye now.